Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the first, is it the first? I think it is the first video that I'm posting for this year. Happy New Year. I feel like my voice trembled there a little bit. Anyway, Happy New Year. I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, prosperous, all good vibes for this year. I'm wishing the same for myself. So in today's video, I am kind of gonna talk you guys through makeup brushes and sponge, I suppose, do's and don'ts. So yeah, so in this I don't know really if I would call it a tutorial, but we aren't so much focusing on the actual look that I come up with at the end of this. I'm more just focusing on showing you guys how I use each of the brushes and why I use a specific brush for a certain thing. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and thank you so much for watching this video. Please give this video a like, a thumbs up. My nails look disgusting. We are all just gonna ignore that, okay? Thank you. Please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and hopefully this year the girl's gonna bring more content continuously. And that's what I'm putting out there. That's what I would like for myself. But anyway, we're getting distracted. Yeah, let's get into this video. So I normally start my whole makeup thing routine with doing my brows. I do use a pencil, so I fill it in that way. So if you choose to use like a little powder thingy like this one, Wet n Wild, it's like what, 60-50 bucks, I don't know what it is, but it's good. I love it. I'm getting distracted. So if you use a powder brow product, the brush I would suggest that you use, it does come with a little brush, but it's so tiny that you can use it. I have used it, it's whatever, but the brush that I would go for is a angled, flat, dense brush. This way you can get precise because it's got quite a sharp corner, so you can get in there, get the shape that you want. This is a Switch Beauty brow, but this is such an old brush. I don't think they sell it anymore, so yeah, unfortunately. But all you've got to look for is a angled brush like this. But I literally just said I don't use it, but for the purpose of this video we're going back to doing powder brows, and because it's such a flat angled brush, I can put it exactly where I want to put it. The next step that I like to do is to carve out my brows. You don't have to do it. I like to do it. It makes your brows look a little bit more clean and crisp, whatever, but that's not the point. The point is to just talk about this brush, not this specific brush, but this style of brush. I highly suggest looking for a brush set that has a tapered, flat brush like this. It's got so many uses. You can use it to carve out your brow. You can use it to create a super crisp cut crease. You can use it to put concealer, place your contour. There's so many uses for it, especially when you want to be precise as to where you want to put your product. So what I do is, I've got a little bit of concealer at the back of my hand here, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna push it both sides and kind of flat, like you want to get it as flat as possible. And then I'm just gonna put it all over my lid because I'm gonna use this to prime my lid as well. Okay, and then now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sponge and I'm gonna blend it out. And now I'm gonna set the concealer that I just used. And for this, you can use a more like smaller, denser, fluffier brush. It's not needed. I'm just gonna take this big fluffy one because it's what I'm gonna use to set my whole face anyway. If you want to go more precise with where you want to set your powders, you can use a more dense brush, but I suggest overall get yourself a super fluffy brush. Multiple uses for this fluffy brush as well. You can do your blush with it, you can do your bronze, like your powder bronzer. And then now we're gonna talk eyeshadow brushes. So like I said, I'm not going to go in detail with my product placement and everything like that, I'm just gonna kind of show you guys the brushes that I like to use. I have over here 8 brushes. You can have more, you can have less. You honestly probably only need 3. If I was gonna say you only have 3 brushes to do a amazing eye look, you can do it with 1. But if you want to get precise, and you know, it depends what level of eyeshadow look you want. So if you want something super detailed, a lot of different layers of colors, whatever, then yeah, you've got to use a whole bunch of different little brushes that vary slightly in the density and fluffiness of the brush to create whatever look that you want. I'm not gonna give you specific brushes, but I'm gonna show you the style of brushes you should look out for. So what every gal needs is a fluffy blending brush like this. Even if you are only gonna use one color, this is what you need to give yourself the like nice blend, the soft blend. And then you can get a more dense brush like this. So the bristles are quite like together, but it still does have a little bit of fluff, and it's got a tiny little bit of tapered at the end. And what this is for is to deepen, not so much deepen, but like to place a color on your eyeshadow without wanting to blend it out, where you really want to place a certain, so if you want to darken your outer V, if you want to get like a cut crease moment going, this is going to be more dense. This is like color placement, and then this is like blend out softly. And then like I said previously, this one, the flat one, this is cut your crease, baby. Others are just like nice to haves, if that makes sense. This one is like a nice, still dense but also fluffy. This you can also blend out with, but this you can also pack color and blend the edges nicely if you want to. This one's gonna give you like a blowout blend where it's like seamless, and this one can give you pack on color but blend it nicely, if that makes sense. Like all these are just different styles of blending brushes. So you guys, to get the best like size for whatever, not so much look that you want to create, but eye shape that you have, it's very important that you kind of understand the shape of your eye. So like I said, I've got quite a decent amount of lid space, so for me this is fine. I can blend it and it's cool and it's whatever. So if you have less lid space, like this is your lid. If you have smaller shaped eyes and a big blending brush doesn't work for you, because when you put it on your lid, it's all over your lid. You can't even get a more defined like little blend going on. Then you get smaller ones. I'm going to show you compared to this one. So this is for bigger eye shape, and this would be for someone with a smaller eye shape. And not even just so much, I could use both. So if I want a bigger blend, I can use this one, and if I want to go in with a deeper color but I still want it to be kind of diffused, I can use this one. And on to the next one, because I'm talking too much now. The next one would be, it's also flat but it's more fluffy. Then you can see this one's like dense, straight fluff, no fluff, and this one's got fluff. So what I'd use this one for is for my under eye color, because it's fluffy enough to blend it so that it isn't harsh, but it's dense enough to not give me raccoon eyes. And there is eyeshadow brushes. Okay, on to the next step. The eyes are finished. I'm not going to do lashes for the simple fact that I don't feel like it. Next step is primer. You can use any primer that your heart desires. The best, easiest, cheapest brush you can use when applying primer is your fingers. If you don't want to use your hands and you want to use a brush for your primer, I would suggest using a angled flat brush like this. A lot of people use this brush for foundation as well. I personally don't enjoy using it for foundation, but I love applying primer. So I'll put some primer on there, because you can get it into all the little nooks and crannies that you want it to be. Let's talk about brushes for foundation. I would suggest an angled flat brush like this if you are going to use a brush, and the motion that you should use it is never swipe when you are blending out. You kind of need to buff it so it's little dabbing motions. I'm gonna do one side with the brush, and then I'm gonna do the other side with my preferred method, which is the sponge. So my product is on there. I'm lightly gonna do this only so I can get as much of the product on without it seeping into the brush, and then I'm going to dab. Like I said, lightly, little circular motions. So you can swipe if you want to, but that shouldn't be the last thing you do. So swipe to get the product wherever you want the product to be, and then you've got to buff it out. And that is the brush application. Now I'm gonna use my spongy onesie. I am applying more product with the sponge than what I did the brush, because I feel like this has got a little bit more coverage. And then for the concealer, I do go in with my sponge again, only because I feel like the sharp little point, you can squeeze it and kind of get in this where you want to. With the contour, you could use the sponge if you wanted to. I don't use the sponge. I will go in with a flat dense brush like this. This is good. This brush is good for getting precise as to where you want your product to be without having it move around your face. And again, same motion, just dab, dab, dab. And then if you want to, if you feel like it's a bit harsh, go in with your sponge that still has a little bit of foundation on, and just blend it out. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna set my face, and I'm going to be using this beautiful brush over here. I like to set my whole face with this, with these two. This is to get more precise, to get under my eye, just in places where it's a bit difficult, where this brush wouldn't necessarily get. And then this is again too small to easily quickly get over my brush. I do have dry skin, so I like to use a little bit more of a fluffy brush to dust, like lightly dust the powder. So because it's prone to crease more, I like to pack it in under my eye and in my nose area. I'm taking the fluffy and lightly dusting it all. So now that my face is powdered, for powder contour, what I like to do is I like to use a brush that's angled like this but is fluffy. And I feel like the most important thing, if you're going to take anything away from this video of me showing you how to use brushes, I am never pushing hard. I'm like, you can see this is fluffy. It's not, the brush is never bent to the point that the whole thing is like this. I'm doing super light motions. You gotta go light handed with everything, all the brushes that you use. It's gonna give you the best possible seamless blend. If I were to go hard and dab on the same spot, I'm gonna get patchy and it's gonna be not a vibe, guys. Not a vibe. Okay, that's contour brush moments. And then for blush, I like to use again another fluffy brush. You could use this same brush for all of the steps, for powdering your whole face, for doing your contour. Like I said, this just gets a bit more precise, but this can still do the job if you want like to lightly, you know, both can do the job. And same thing with the blush, but I use this fluffy but angled brush and kind of just place it where I want my blush to be. Again, dabbing and then lightly doing little circular motions. For highlight, I would suggest a fluffy brush like this. It's fluffy but it's got an angle to it. So why I would suggest an angle to it, because you obviously don't want a super fluffy brush that is gonna make your highlight go everywhere. You kind of do want to have control. When it comes to lip products, you can easily just use the products out of the container as you like. But if you are a pro makeup artist, or you having multiple people use the product, you don't really want everyone to like be using the actual product. For this, I would suggest an angled brush like this. This one is also good for doing liners if you're using a little pot liner instead of a pen. I like this one, why I would suggest to use this one, because you can see with the sharp edges you can get in all the corners that you want to get into. Wow, that's darker. And then sit. Okay guys, so this is the look, but like I said, it's not so much about the look, it's just about the brushes I use and how I use them. Let's do face brushes, just a tiny little recap of what we said. But so basically these are the face brushes that I used: setting powder, powder blush, powder contour, highlight, foundation, powder, setting powder again, but this is if you want to get more precise. I'd suggest under eye, and then liquid contour. Right, oh, and then primer, moisturizer, skincare. So for the eyebrows, this is what I used, and then I used these 4 blending brushes, and then I used this flat brush. I used this to clean up under my eyebrow and to prime my lid. But like I said, you can do so much more. You can cut your crease. This is like not a cut crease at all, just whatever. And then this was to pack the product in, and then I used this one for my lips, and that is what I use. I will say that my nose is itchy, so I will say, when it comes to brushes, don't feel that you have to spend an arm and a leg. I would suggest looking for a brush kit that has a good amount of face brushes and a good amount of eye brushes. If you are only looking for eye brushes and don't need face brushes, then get a kit with a bunch of different eye brushes, which only consist of eyeshadow brushes, which are obviously going to look like this, a whole bunch of different ones, whatever. So knowing the shape of your eye, so if you see there's an eyeshadow brush kit that has got 10 eyeshadow brushes or 12 eyeshadow brushes, and a lot of them consist of a big fluffy brush like this, like there's quite a few big fluffy brushes, or yeah, there's a lot of big fluffy brushes and not so much more smaller fluffy brushes, but you know you have quite a small shaped eye that these big ones just aren't going to work for you, then don't get the eyeshadow brush. So I'd say what you want to look for, you're going to get bang for your buck, is if you're going to see that there's multiple types of brushes in the kit, whether that be face brushes or whether that be eye brushes, depending on what you want, or both. I will put a few suggestions of what I think are good brush kits that are affordable. I will say the most expensive brushes that I have are my Made by Mitchell brushes. The kit was pricey, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm also not gonna lie in telling you these are like probably the best brushes that I own. I won't lie, the first time I got them and I did an eyeshadow look with them, I legit felt like my makeup looked better. Like I look like I've just upped a level in technique just by using this brush. It's a very dramatic thing to say, but I honestly feel like that's how it was for me. But again, they are expensive, so it's kind of gonna be a, are you gonna invest or not? I kind of want to do like a back to basics on everything start to finish in your makeup routine. So that's hence me starting with the brushes, because I can tell you how to do an eyeshadow look. If you don't have the eyeshadow brushes, what good is it gonna do? So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I hope you found it informative. Please let me know if you did, or if I did not explain it well at all. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here and getting to this point. Please leave a like, please subscribe to my channel. We are hopefully gonna be committed to being consistent on this channel, and I have so many ideas and so many videos. And my dog is legit looking at me like this. Yes, I'm talking about you. So I've got so many ideas of things that I want to film for you guys that I'm excited for. So yeah, thank you so much guys. I shall see you in the next one.